Hey, what's going on, Lounge family? I hope you're doing well today on this Monday or whatever day you're watching this. As you can see, the setting is much different. I am a little bit mobile this morning. I plan on being in my office per usual. However, I decided to go by a coffee shop and got stuck in the drive-through for about 30 minutes, which is not my um, it's never something that I enjoy. So I'm the guy, I don't know if you're like me, I'm the guy that I will greet people when I pull up to the drive-through intercom. I greet them before they greet me. That's how much I do not like lines. Anyways, I got stuck this morning in it, and here we are. So we're good to go. Hey, I'm pumped about this material today. I believe it's going to help you in your leadership, whether you are, you know, leading your own business, building a team from the start. Maybe you're part of a startup. Congrats, Isaac, launching your company. I see you out there doing your thing. Super, super creative. I love that. Or maybe you are watching this and you are a CEO of, a company that has already went through seasons of scaling. Wherever you might be in your leadership journey, process, in your business, your organization, I know we have a full array of different types of leaders or different leaders in different industries on this. We have, pastors, we have C-suite executives, everything in between, everything around that on both sides. And so I'm going to talk about some stuff. We've discussed some of it before, but I believe uh, most of you are new. We've been doing the lounge over a year now. As you can go back in the video archives and see, we have over a year's worth of weekly teachings. And so I encourage you to go back and look at those archived videos as well. Go back on our YouTube channel. And lots of good content there. Hopefully it is helpful to you. But that's something also you get as a perk of your membership upon joining the Leadership Lounge, is you get to go back and access all of those videos as well. And of course, those are exclusively for members. They're not to be shared. But if you want to share one with a buddy, if you feel like it's going to help him or her, go ahead and do so. I don't care. Okay, let's talk about today the difference between a maintainer and a mover. A maintainer and a mover as a leader. Now, I want to talk about a couple of different concepts today. One is that of a manager. Okay. A manager doesn't imply, from my study, from my knowledge, from my experience, if you're a manager, that does not imply that you are an exceptional leader. Okay. That's not necessarily a manager's job. A manager's job, rightfully so, and we need really good managers, period. A manager's job is to maintain what is, essentially. Now, you can be a manager with leadership components, and that's incredible. Maybe you are a manager watching this, and I'm encouraging you in your leadership, because while managers maintain, leaders move. So you can be a manager that maintains, but also is innovative in your ways, and you still move the dial. That means that's not the manager in you working. That's the leader in you working. Although your title might be manager, you can still be a leader. Okay, so managers maintain and leaders move. That's something really key for us to grasp today or hear today, and understand that managers maintain and leaders move. Managers essentially, they help provide and cultivate that consistency. It's there's a box that is given to managers, and they need to be sure they are the glue to the box, that everything continues to function. Okay, but a leader sees the box, and there could be some management and leadership, but leaders see the box and they say, okay, how can I begin to expand this box? How can I move the box? How can I remove this old wall and create a new one, this old lid, and maybe raise the roof a little bit? But managers maintain while leaders move. I want to encourage you today, as a leader. I want to speak to the leader that is within you. Okay, so leaders move the dial. The definition, I believe, of leadership, kind of my own definition, but it's backed up by most other definitions of leadership. Leadership is essentially the ability to move someone and or something forward. Move someone and or something forward. In other words, to move a person forward or move and or move a product forward. You could say it this way: to move an organism forward and or move an organization forward. The key word is forward. It is an action of moving the thing or the person forward. And typically, also a little side note here, if you are a leader of an organization, your key or your focus ought to be the organisms within the organization. So we don't try to move the organization forward as much as we try to move the organisms forward, because when you move the people forward, the product, the business, the company, the organization moves forward as well. So our focus is always on people, of course. Okay, so it's the ability to move the thing and or the someone, the person forward. You move it forward. There's activity, there's action, there's progress. Okay, there's forward, there's motion. Okay, so that's the key word, is forward. A leader's aim is to move it, not necessarily maintain it. So if you have your own business and you're the only employee, staffing your business right now, you're a one-man show, one-woman team right now, then you are still looking at your product and moving it forward, looking at your clients and helping them move forward, whatever that translates to you as. Okay, so a leader's aim, write this down, a leader's aim is to move it, not necessarily maintain it. Okay, and we live in such a moving time, in such a time that is full of innovation and creativity. People are taking risks, they're trying new concepts. We have to continue to move with a moving time. The dying words of an organization and a leader's impact is this: we've always done it this way before. Now, principles can remain, however, methodology must evolve. Okay? I'm going to talk about the few differences between a maintainer and a mover. Okay, so I used to call this thought next level leadership. So I'm going to lay out two different columns here. I'm going to first lay out what a maintaining leader does. Now, that's a little bit of an oxymoron, if you compare it to what I've been speaking about the past few minutes. But I'm going to talk about the leader who maintains and the leader who moves. Okay, so when I break down what the moving leader does, it's not to dismiss the maintenance of it, but it's to add on to it. It's to push it to that next level, moving from maintaining to moving. Okay, so maintaining versus moving. If you are doing the maintenance side of it, that's good. There ought to be some level, of maintenance, and of course, we have managers maybe in place for that. However, you might be the one that is managing, but I want to encourage you to move from more of a management role to a leadership role, which again implies movement. Okay, so when I talk about moving, it's not to dismiss the first bracket of things that I cover. You'll pick up as I move on. I wish that I could share my screen with you and you could see it in more of a slide deck. But okay, so a maintainer, some of this is personal development, some of this is organizational leadership, but a maintainer, what a maintainer does is they sharpen their craft. And I believe in sharpening your craft. You know me, I'm a person of faith, and I believe in a higher power. I believe he is Jesus. Jesus is Lord. We have a creator. We call him God. Okay, so I believe God has gifted you with specific gifts, with the craft, and I believe we ought to do our due diligence in sharpening our craft. If you're creative, take some courses. If you're a singer, take some lessons, practice. Okay. Practice makes excellence. Practice produces excellence, right? So work that thing. If you're a communicator, practice communicating, listen to yourself back, watch film, get critique, get wise counsel. I believe that many of you understand this because all of you really on this part of this program, part of this membership, because a large part of this is sharpening your craft as a leader. Okay, we ought to sharpen our craft. However, a next level leader, a moving leader, does this. They develop their character. They develop who they are on the inside. If we want to be a leader who changes things, who moves our organizations forward, better yet, society forward, we will understand. We will have a revelation. We will have uh, an understanding on the importance of building who you are within, having those strong character items, integrity, honor, right? Those things on the inside of you that will be able to withstand the pressure of your craft, your charisma, your gifting externally. So all the while we are building our craft externally, we are making sure that who we are internally can sustain the pressure from the outside, that your craft and your influence and your impact will naturally bring. We see this so many times in culture, and I've been there myself, to where I've let outside pressures, maybe from something I've been gifted with and from influence, um, essentially cave who I was on the inside because I was focusing more on that and not building who I was within. My priorities were upside down, when all the while I ought to have been developing who I was on the inside, all the more who I am on the outside. Now just follow that illustration for a minute, okay? I think about the concept of a sinkhole. A sinkhole. What a sinkhole is it is a vulnerable, hollow place beneath the surface that has formed over time, or maybe it's always been there. Maybe some irrigation has gone through, kind of swept out a hollow place beneath the surface of the ground. We see this oftentimes in our city. We are notorious, unfortunately. I know we're working on it, but for not really having good roads, streets. There's a hollow place beneath the surface that time and pressure caves that thing in. Going back to our sinkhole illustration here, what happens is we build civilizations, we build buildings, infrastructures on top of hollow places beneath the surface, and it's only a matter of two things: time and pressure, that thing caves in. And we saw it, unfortunately, many years ago. An example in Mexico City, part of Mexico City caved in because there was a sinkhole. There was a vulnerable, hollow place beneath the surface that couldn't withstand the pressure from external matters. Okay, so my encouragement to you as a leader is build who you are on the inside. Be held accountable. Stick to your word. Grow yourself. Grow your character. Character over charisma. Character over craft. Continue to grow your craft, of course. Sharpen that thing. Be diligent with it. Steward it well. However, all the more, grow who you are within. That's what matters. And now that I've been in leadership for just a little bit of time now, I understand the importance of this all the more in myself personally, and I've seen it in many others. When people value character, that actually is one of the most attractive things. And I believe also, because I'm a man of faith, that's what God honors. He sees within. Okay. The second thing is a maintainer will fulfill their assignment. Of course, you get your job done. That's great. And we ought to, bare minimum. That's not the ceiling, that's the floor. We fulfill our assignment. However, a mover will take initiative. Will take initiative. Will go above and beyond. Always going above and beyond the task at hand. Okay? Moving on for time's sake. A maintainer. Third, will see an issue, will have the eyes to see an issue, but a mover will bring solutions. I have a little bit of a role in any team that I lead is let's not just bring up problems. Anytime we bring up a problem, bring a couple solutions attached to it. For example, a small illustration of this is if we walk into let's say a meeting room 2 days back to back, and it's a little bit too warm in the room, what a leader will do obviously is notice that issue, but they won't just fulfill the task by turning down the AC. They won't just see it as a task that wasn't completed. They will see it as a broken system. Why 2 days back to back did we walk into this room and we had the same problem? So leaders see beyond. They bring solutions systematically to the issue. So a maintainer will just get the job done. They'll see the issue, they'll do it. The trash is full, take it out. That's great. But if the trash is full and overflowing 2 days in a row, a leader will also see a broken system and bring solutions to the table. They won't just take out the trash. They'll say, hey, let's go to the back room and get at the whiteboard and let's really observe and analyze and assess and devise and execute a plan to alleviate this matter. Okay, so a maintainer sees an issue, a mover will bring solutions. A maintainer will see a task that needs to be done. A mover will notice broken systems when they are there. Good. Next, a maintainer will receive a teaching. So right now, you are receiving what we can call a teaching. Okay, you'll listen to podcasts, that maybe a mentor in your life encourages you to listen to. You'll get a book that, maybe you're held accountable to read by a leader in your life or by a friend. However, a mover will know how to teach themselves. So a maintainer receives teachings, which we all ought to do, but a mover will teach themselves. So in other words, right now you're receiving a teaching, case in point. But when we close our laptops or turn off our phones or turn off our computers today, what else will you go do by yourself? So this one thing to be getting fed, if we can use this analogy here, there's another thing to know where the fridge is and go feed yourself. So we ought to do both and, not either or, but both and. We have this hunger to grow. We have this hunger and desire to be the chief learning officer of our organizations. We go and feed ourselves as well. We close this laptop today and say, okay, what are maybe a couple practical things that I can do this week that is based upon this teaching today? You go and apply, you teach yourself, you grow yourself as well. So a maintainer receives teachings, but a mover will teach themselves. Okay, a maintainer, next point, will show up on time. Praise the Lord. We were on time as we ought to be. But a leader, a mover, will show up ready. We won't wait until we get to the job site or to the meeting to kind of start gathering our thoughts, kind of waking up or whatever. We will show up ready. Intellectually, emotionally, mentally, physically, we show up ready, whatever that looks like for you. Okay. And if you're a pastor, you show up spiritually. Okay. We could really talk about that for a while, but let's continue to move on. A maintainer will read the temperature of the room. Now, I know I used this as an analogy earlier about the thermostat thing, but just follow me on a different thought upon that. Okay, so you'll read the temperature of the room. You'll feel if the culture's not right, if the atmosphere is not right, the feeling is not right, if the morale is not right, the collaboration, chemistry, teamwork. You'll feel it. You'll read it. Okay, just like a thermometer would do. But you might have heard this before, but a mover will set the temperature of the room, just like a good thermostat. A thermostat will inject what needs to be injected, reject what needs to be rejected, and deject what needs to be dejected. Okay, so more of a thermometer you read it, but you're also a thermostat. because you know how to set the temperature of the room. That is so key for team morale, for productivity, for excitement, for fun, for collaboration, for progress. You will set the temperature of the room. You won't just read it. That's another part about, another going back to our former point. You will bring solutions. Um, that's what that's what we do as leaders. You set the temperature. Last but not least, okay, a maintainer will focus on their position. They'll be locked into their department, okay, and they'll get their job done. They'll execute their task according to their seat, according to their role. That's good. We have a job, we have a title, and we must do that. However, a mover doesn't just focus on position, they focus on their mission, the company, the organization's mission as a whole. Even if you're the leader, even if you're the key person, if you're the CEO, whatever, director, pastor, whatever you might be, you still focus on the mission as well. You set the tone, you set the temperature, you set the example to your team that you're also locked in on the mission. If anybody should carry the mission, it's us. We got to show how to carry the mission. There is a story that I love, and it's this: the late President JFK. He was walking through. The story goes something like this: he was walking through NASA one day in Houston, and he was going from office to office asking people what they did there at NASA. Let's say he went to analytics and he say, man, what do you do here? And she said, well, I oversee analytics. And she spoke according to her seat, according to her position. Went on to the next room. There's a gentleman in there. What do you do here? So I oversee this operational team of this. So again, he referenced to his position, his seat, understandably so, right? And they went to the next office and they continued to tell President JFK what they did according to their position. However, as he walked to another office, he passed by the janitor that was sweeping the floors in the hallway. And he said, Mr. Janitor, what do you do here at NASA? And the janitor responded to the president and said, Mr. President, I'm so glad you asked. He said, sir, I'm helping send a man to the moon. I'm helping send a man to the moon. The janitor understood that what he was a part of was bigger than the role that he played. He didn't speak to position. Understandably, he could have said, I'm sweeping the floors, I'm getting this floor clean right now. But he said, I'm helping send a man to the moon, because he wasn't locked in on position, on his singular position. He was locked in on the mission. He said, I'm helping send a man to the moon. We need to understand this as leaders, and we need to continue to encourage our team, that this is a team effort. This is what we get to do. This is the mission at hand. Okay? So a next level organization requires next level leaders. A moving, progressive organization, an impactful an organization that is growing and that is moving forward and excelling requires excellent leaders. Requires leaders who operate in excellence, who operates in that moving regard that we've been talking about. Okay? All right, leaders, I love you dearly. If there's anything I can do for you this week, please let me know. And I know that everybody that is on this call today and that is watching this in the playback, I believe without a doubt that you are a mover. So go be a mover, go be a shaker, go serve somebody today. Keep doing what you do. I'm grateful for you. We'll talk to you soon.